It all started when my driver killed a person. That is how I ended up being a money ritualist. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following confession that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received, and it reads like this. How are you, Brother Nashi? Please, can you hide my name? I am a well-known person in the church right now, and I am an elder, but the truth is that I am suffering from something that I started running away from since the year 2007. Most of you know the avenging spirit, and there are those that say that the Ngozi or avenging spirit does not even exist. Even if you are a Christian, I want to tell you that it really exists. I used to believe that too, because in our family, we were Christians. We opposed anything that had to do with African traditional matters. But now I know that there are things that do not end just by praying alone. If a person sheds blood. It was in the year 2007. I was a businessman. I was doing farming and transport. I had a farm on the Chinoi side where my brother-in-law used to live. It was one Friday. What had happened was that there was a guy that had sold a tractor for me that we wanted to use at my farm, and then he just disappeared, and we later realized that he had sold to us a broken down tractor. So I had sourced some second-hand parts for that machine, and I wanted my driver to rush to the farm to deliver the machine. Patrick was a person who drove like crazy. You know that type of a driver, when he is the one that is driving you, you are even afraid. I always told him that he was not supposed to be speeding at all the times, but he would say that as for him, as a professional driver, he knew the road. It was around 6 p.m. when I was called by my brother-in-law, who stayed in the same town where I had recently purchased my farm. When he called me, his voice was shaking with fear. He said to me, "There is a woman here that has been run over by your car." Brother Nashi, my heart stopped right there. Apparently, Patrick was overspeeding. He was overspeeding near a certain shopping center in that farming town, and there was a certain pregnant woman who was crossing the road at the same time. My driver, unfortunately, ran her over, and she died right there on the spot with her pregnancy. People started gathering up. They wanted to beat up my driver, Patrick. But my brother-in-law, someone that was a community leader, he stepped in to help so that he was not going to be stabbed to death or to be beaten to death. When I received this phone call, I immediately panicked. At that time, I had my high school friend, whom I'll call George. As for George, he was working as a spy. He was working in the Central Intelligence Organization, more like the CIA. I called him that very night, and I said to him, "George, relax." And he said to me, "Relax," after I had told him the problems that I now had. And he said, "No, do not worry. We are going to fix everything. All that we have to do is to push the right buttons so that when this case is brought before the courts, your driver is not going to prison for a long time." Brother Nashi, that is where we went wrong. Instead of me admitting everything that had happened and asking for forgiveness properly, we started thinking about a cover-up. George made his government connections, and the case started to go quiet. Patrick did not even spend time in prison. Meanwhile, I paid that woman's family around $6,000 because they wanted to have me arrested. I also assisted with the funeral expenses. At that time, I thought that the matter was over. We even went to the burial of that woman. She was a young woman. Her husband cried so much that everyone ended up crying with him. And the thing that hurt the most was that the pregnancy she had the child died in it too. Brother, if you only knew how cold I was at that time, you could understand that I did this because I wanted to protect myself, to protect my car that was about to be impounded. I just thought the matter is over, money has fixed everything. But in the evening, after the funeral, things started happening. 2 of my cattle just died that same night at my farm. No sickness, no snake bite, nothing, just dead. My brother-in-law was the one that called me. Since we were Christians, I never believed or even thought that there was something that was happening and there was a spiritual battle that was taking place in the background. Life kept on moving. Death started entering into our family slowly. One cousin had an accident. One uncle died suddenly. Then one child of my younger brother got a strange sickness. So still, we did not even bother to connect the dots until I lost my own child. Brother Nashi, my eldest child, died of a sudden fever. Doctors said it was an infection, but those things did not make sense. That is when I started going to traditional healers. Secretly, I would go to sangomas. Initially, I was afraid because I was a church leader, but I guess that pain can change you as a person. I went to this other sangoma. This sangoma, he was someone that was very powerful. I will never forget that place. When I arrived at his shrine, there was this other dark room which he makes you to enter into. In that room, they had a TV. This TV had no wires or normal electricity. And this TV, it could be switched on. I even checked the cable twice and I saw that the cable, it was not connected. I'm talking about a remote village where there is no electricity, no solar panels, there was nothing. So this man, he said that the TV was going to show me everything. He said, we are going to show you the truth if you believe. He then gave me some medicine which I had to put into my eyes. It was not painful, but I was just crying. Tears were just streaming down my face because of those medicine that was inside of my eyes. Then he said, look at the TV. Things started to appear on that spiritual TV. I saw that accident again. My driver, the way that he was driving, he was overspeeding for real. And I saw that woman that was crossing the car that hit her. By this time, I was seeing other things that I did not even know about the way that a person dies and how a person's spirit leaves the body. This is what I saw at the scene of the accident as the movie was playing out on the TV. When that woman died on the road, I saw her spirit rising up from the body. Brother Nashi, I immediately wet myself just looking at it. The spirit then stood beside her body crying. She kept saying, my child, my husband, my child, my husband, I am dead, oh, I am dead. Meanwhile, people were running around seeing only the dead body of that woman. But brother, there is nothing as terrifying as hearing a dead person crying while no longer being noticed by others. That was when I saw something else. That spirit followed our car all the way to the farm. That is when I saw how 2 of my cows died. I saw this spirit killing the first cow and the second cow as well. And the Sangoma pointed his walking stick at me and he said, this is how this spirit has entered your house. I immediately started trembling and I said, but we paid as a family. We assisted with the burial. He laughed at me and he said, yeah, you dealt with the living, but the spirit, did you consult with it? He explained something that I never knew about what happens when a person is killed. You simply do not talk with the relatives of the person, but you are supposed to also consult so that the spirit can talk and the spirit can say what is it that it wants. Brother, I learned something evil that is done by so many families where there are these avenging spirits waging spiritual warfare after them. So he said to me, Many people, when they have such a spirit in their family, they do not want to remove it properly, but rather what they do is that they pass it on to another person, either by giving you a gift, money, or to one of their family member. So I then asked him if it works, and he told me yes, it can work. And then I asked him, why is it that the spirit of this dead person would allow you to transfer it to another person? And he told me that the avenging spirit, it is clever. It loves to see you wasting your money, and it wants to see relatives fighting against each other, and inviting the spirit of witchcraft and other demonic spirits as well. Brother Nashi, I am ashamed to say this, but I agreed to be helped using that type of a ritual. The Sangoma performed a ritual to remove the avenging spirit from my house, but the truth is that we sent it to my younger brother. That man, he was a very prayerful person. He did not believe in these avenging spirits. He said that they were just familiar spirits. Within months, bad things started happening in his house. His child died. Brother, I saw it all on that spiritual TV at the Sangoma's house. The boy had climbed into a mango tree, and then he saw a green mamba, and then he died. But that snake was not a real snake. It was the spirit of that dead woman. I saw the ghost laughing on that spiritual TV. The boy fell from the tree and died. That is when I started to see that an avenging spirit, it is an intelligent thing. It is not a joke. And from that day, our family started to be eaten one by one. Ah, my child, my phone had just fallen down right now. The screen is even cracked. I paused writing here because honestly, sometimes I am even afraid to speak about this story. It seems as if this avenging spirit does not even want to be exposed. But I'll keep speaking because maybe there is someone that is going to learn. So, after the traditional healer, it showed me on the spiritual TV that the avenging spirit had been placed on my younger brother. I started living with fear. Initially, I told myself that at least it has left my immediate family. But brother, I am ashamed to say the mentality that we had. That is when I saw that an avenging spirit the avenging spirit destroys the heart of a person before it destroys the family. Because instead of feeling sorry for my young brother, I only wanted my family to survive. Things started happening at my brother's house. His wife started getting sick. His children were dreaming of a woman that was always covered in blood. Whenever he would tell me about these things, my response to him will be like, do not be superstitious. I know that some of you are not going to agree with me. You might have a relative of yours that is a witch. And whenever you go to her and tell her that there is something that I am dreaming about, and then your relative will tell you that it is demonic, do not worry about consulting. Yet that same person in the middle of the night visits Sangomas consulting behind your back. If only I had listened. So the way that my brother's son died, he had gone to cut mangoes. He saw a green mamba in the tree. Obviously, he got scared and he panicked and he slipped from the tree, and then he passed away. And that same woman was the one that changed into a green mamba, and that spirit stood beside the dead body laughing. I will never forget the way that the dead body was laughing. It was like a person who had bitterness. The funeral of that child is the one that started to open my eyes properly, because the family members started beating each other up, because we sat down in a family meeting, and then there were those that were saying we need to consult. Then there were those that said no, to consult is demonic. So people became divided. And that is what the spirit wants. When you see that your family is not united, you are divided, there are chances that in your generation there is someone that killed a person and they are hiding from the rest of their family. visiting sangomas at night, accusing each other. The avenging spirit started exactly to do the things that we had been told by the sangoma to separate us. I had an uncle that started drinking like he was a madman. One cousin had a mental breakdown. The family's money started to disappear. Rather, the thing that terrified me the most was that even all the married men in our family, if you are facing this challenge in your marriage, whether you are a woman or you are a man, you need to listen properly, because this might be what is happening to you right now. So the challenges that we started to face, I'm talking about all the married men in my family, we had problems in our marriage. My wife, whenever it was about to get dark, the moment that we entered into the bedroom, she would push me away and she would be rude. She would refuse to cuddle, to be touched. Sometimes we would go for months without even touching each other. I started to wonder what was happening, because it was the same thing that I was being told by my brothers and cousin brothers, that they are having the same problem of erectile dysfunction, and I did not understand what is it that was happening in our family, because I thought that we could just pray and everything was going to be okay. So the other thing that I had forgotten was that whenever I would have problems, I would run to that traditional healer to remove the bad luck and to put that bad luck on someone else. And those that were in my family, they did not know that I was giving them bad advice not to seek help from any sangoma. The night when I saw a demon, it was one night when I had tried to sleep with my wife. She refused, so I could not sleep throughout the night. Suddenly, when I was dozing off, that was when I woke up and I saw that there was a person that was sleeping between us. Brother, I froze. That woman, that same woman that had was run over by Patrick, she was lying between us and she was separating us. So this is what might be happening to your marriage, to your relationship. If your partner suddenly has low libido, there is a demonic spirit that sleeps in between the both of you and separating you so that you can't be intimate with each other. And she was laughing. She was saying that you have no love in this house. You will never know love as long as I am here. I screamed out loud. My wife then woke up and she asked me what was it, but she did not see anything. And then I went to that traditional healer, and the healer told me that it was that avenging spirit, because traditional healers, as long as you have money to consult, they will always make sure that you keep on coming back to them, and they do not give you a permanent solution. Instead of bringing my family together and confess, all that I did was that I made things worse. Like I told you before, that traditional healers, they are always having these options that they are going to give to you, but in truth, these are just temporary options, and you keep on playing with the devil. So the worst option that the traditional healer gave me was that at my farm, we had a gardener who was from Mozambique. His name was Moses. He was a young boy from Mozambique who was helping me with some work there at the farm. A very quiet person who never complained. And when I was at the traditional healer's house, the healer then said that we could remove that bad spirit that was on me, and then we could put it on Moses. And I said, please remove that avenging spirit. He then said that it was going to be moved from my family and to be moved to Moses. If only I had refused right there, maybe I could have done the right thing, but I was a different person. He gave me medicine that I was supposed to put on Moses' clothes. Apparently, the avenging spirit was supposed to follow the person that I would have bought new clothes for and gave to him. I did exactly that. Within a couple of weeks, Moses started changing. He started talking to himself and he ran away crying. One time I found him even hitting the walls of the house, saying that there was a spirit that was inside of him that he wanted to get out. My conscience started to bite me. I was afraid. I wanted to release him from that curse, but I could not, because this meant that it was going to return back to me. One night, Moses disappeared and he was never found. When he was found, a couple of days after that, then they found him. He was hanging. He had hanged himself in a tree. I went to a sangoma. We buried Moses even though we were not related by blood or by anything, because I just wanted the problems to go away. From the time that we buried Moses, I felt as if I was going crazy. I did not have peace. When I was fast asleep, I would see Moses in my bedroom. I would see the dead woman standing right close to where he was. As for my friend, the government guy, I called him and I told him that there was something that was happening in my life. And then he told me that he also did not want to continue just making this case to go away, because there was something else that was happening in his life. And so it was, Nashi, things went beyond what I ever thought could happen in life. Sometimes I just sit alone thinking that if we had just admitted our crime properly in the year 2007, maybe our family will still be together today. After the death of Moses, the garden boy, I started fearing everyone and anything. At the farm, the losses that I started to make, some of you that are running businesses, if you see that you keep on having losses and losses, investigate your family's history. If you are someone that has this bad luck, maybe there is one of your uncles that committed murder, or your grandfather, and the spirit and the blood of that person is crying unto God. You will never know good luck in your entire life, because even your hands as a child that is born into that family, they are full of blood. So I did not know what else to do, because I would hire new farm workers and then they would say that they would hear someone crying in the middle of the night, and then they would see another man that would hang himself, thinking that he is a real person. When they would approach him, that man will disappear, that will be trying to commit suicide. So I kept on going to different traditional healers. The healer had told me that the only way that we could fix this thing once and for all was that he would accompany me to the family of the deceased, sit down with them properly, and then we look for another plan. But my brother, I did not want to waste money, because I considered it as something that is like wasting money. I wanted something that was just a permanent solution, whereby I could just give those people money without even them having to sit down with me and telling me whatever that they wanted from me. Since I was someone that was very wealthy, when you are rich, you think that money can solve everything, and you do not want to sit down and you are being told what to do by poor people. So the traditional healer then told me that he was not okay. He was sick. He wanted to retire as a sangoma. He just wanted to help me to speak with the family, and then they will tell me what they were supposed to do. And I said, what if I get arrested? I did not want that kind of a problem. The healer, the last time when I went to him, he was so sick, and he said that the only way to end this, the truth is the one that is going to set you free. Admit that you are guilty and speak with the family. Do not try to control the family. I started to cry, because as a rich man, there was nothing that I would want to do which will end up with me being arrested. So I said, no, it is fine. Let me not do this, because I don't want to be arrested. We just wanted to silence the case, and I walked away, and I started to be assisted by another traditional healer. And then I made a decision after almost after so many years, I made another decision, and then I sacrificed another person in the family so as to protect myself. To this very day, I am still using different types of charms so that I can be able to protect myself, but even my body. I feel that I am tired. I do not want to do this anymore. I just want rest. As for now, I just want to rest. I do not want to continue using all of these charms, because each and every day there are charms that I'm supposed to bath with, and it gets so tiring. You just want to relax. You just want peace, but there is no peace at all, because I am always using all of these charms. To anyone that is going to be listening to my story, please know that human life, it is very precious. You cannot just kill a person, because if you just kill a person, then what is going to happen is that the spirit of that person is going to haunt you for the rest of your life, and it is also going to haunt your family for the rest of your life. I wish that I had listened the first time around when the Sangoma told me that if I could pay him, we could go and we could speak with the people, the family of that woman that had been killed by my driver. But I was very arrogant as a rich person. And the last thing that I want to tell you is that if you are witnessing so much bad luck in your life, I beg you to look into your family's history. Do you think that in your family there might be someone that murdered a person? If you think so, consult. If you pray, please pray to God, so that God can reveal those things that are hidden away from you, and then you can be able to go and speak with the family of the deceased, so that your life can be okay and God can release you. Just like what happened in the Bible, when you murder someone, there is a curse that follows you on your forehead. Some of you have a curse that follows you on your forehead right now, because you were born into a family where there was murder that was committed. And even if you pray to God, but that generational curse is always going to follow you. I'll be following through in the comment section. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to us by one of our dear brother. Let us speak with our dear brother in the comment section. Strange things indeed, they do happen in this world. If in your family there is someone that committed a murder and was arrested or was never arrested, you can come to our inbox and then you share with us your own side of the story. What happened in your family after the murder was committed? Was there any strange things that happened? Or nothing? Your life is normal, you don't have bad luck, so that we can all learn from your experience. Do you think that generational curses are for real? Do you think that what our brother is telling us is the truth, that when you have blood on your hands, there is always a mark that will follow you on your forehead? That is why you are always having bad luck, because the spirit of a dead person that was murdered invites with it other demons into the family, where one of their relative murdered that person. If you believe it, you can tell us in the comment section. I'll be back with another episode.